Welcome to the Nicole Small Show, where we give you straight talk with no chaser. Here, we discuss issues from the White House to your house. And now, here's your host, Nicole Small.
Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Today is Tuesday, April the 13th. Couple of things we want to talk about today. First, Biden and Governor Whitmer seem to be at odds on whether or not to shut down the state of Michigan due to the high surge in COVID numbers. I find it interesting. I find it interesting that the solution seems to be, according to what I've been reading, is that the state is calling for more vaccinations. And so with that said, let's analyze this very quickly. So we went from not having access to any of the vaccines, and we were even in the top 3 for numbers, to now supposedly a third of the state has been vaccinated. And now we're competing with Florida to be the top states with the COVID virus as far as the surge in the numbers. I find that questionable. I think that there's definitely some information that isn't being given to the public as far as what's going on. Then you take a look, because if the solution is for everyone to be vaccinated, how is it that now, at least if we have a third of the state that's vaccinated, now we're number 1? So there's something else that's missing there. I personally do believe that it's because some people aren't following the rules, but obviously the vaccination, I don't believe in its totality is the solution. It's probably something that they're not telling us, but that's the way that it goes. And I would assume that the reason why the governor has strong reservations about shutting the state down again is because of all of the pushback that she received from those crazy people coming to stand outside her home with guns and everything drawn. But now they're saying that there are some Republicans who are agreeing with shutting down the state. Now, I really find that questionable. We need to figure out what's really behind that. But must be a difficult position to be put in. But what we're hearing is that the CDC as well is calling for a shutdown of the state in order to flatten the curve. Something isn't working. Let me say that something isn't working. Also, I don't understand how many people from Michigan, like, why is everybody flocking to Florida when Florida has always had an escalated rate of COVID numbers? So why do we go there to keep coming back here? And some of you are the main ones who want to push for people to take the vaccine as if you believe that this is the solution to everything, but then you go to Florida. No, that's not the way that it works. That's definitely not the way that it works. And so you transporting this virus back here. And so now our numbers are at an all-time high because everybody acts like they have to go to Miami. That's a whole nother issue I don't understand. The main people who are pushing for other people to get the vaccine, you want to keep flocking to Florida. Make that make sense to me. And now here we are. We're neck and neck with Florida as being, the state with the highest numbers of COVID. I would suggest that even if you get this vaccine, you do what they tell you to do and to wear your mask. That's the bottom line. I would not feel comfortable not wearing a mask. I don't care what they say. And those of you who keep wearing this mask up under your nose, just take it off, because I don't understand that part. You wear the mask under your nose. How is that going to prevent you anyway from getting the virus? I don't know who came up with that, but it's just the same as these people wearing their pants around their knees. I don't understand it. Also, Johnson & Johnson, where is that article that I had about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? According to the CDC, they're saying that they want to pause the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They said that they're causing extremely rare blood clots, according to the FDA and the CDC. how many people? I think it was 6.8 million people have received. Yep, 6.8 million people in the United States have received the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, and they claim that only 6 have experienced the clot. I mean, that's a small population of people who have experienced having extremely rare blood clot. And again, I said this last week. This is still the experimental phase. You have to expect that with people getting these vaccines, like they are looking to see, you know, how your body responds to it. And it's going to be a process. There is no vaccine historically where after 6 months they know everything about it. That's my opinion. People can say what they want to say, that, oh, it's going to cure this. You really don't know, but it's going to take for people to go and get the shot. I mean, basically this is what they're doing. They're testing it out to see what the effects are going to be. So again, 6.8 million people have received the vaccine, and only 6 have experienced having this rare blood clot, according to the information that we have right now. Not that I think that it's good news that anybody has experienced a rare blood clot, but in the grand scheme of things, when you talk about experimental drugs and vaccinations, it's a small sample size out of the number of people who have received it. So I just say, you know, make sure that you pay attention if you get this vaccine to your body, and either one. I mean, I'm quite sure there are some side effects that people have experienced with the Moderna and the Pfizer as well. At least they're telling you with this Johnson and Johnson what's going on. So just pay attention to your body, and you know you better go to the doctor if you feel like something is wrong. But I thought that just before all the rumors get out, just so you know, it's 6 people out of 6.8 million people who have experienced this rare blood clot. So that's some information that you definitely want to be cognizant of. And then today, what time is that? I think it's at 12 o'clock. They're going to have a voters. We're going to talk about this later on too. We're going to bring Brenda Hill on. There's going to be a call to action against voter suppression, and this conversation is going to take place at the Capitol today at 12 o'clock. I can't make it. I have some things to do for the campaign, but there are a couple of people who will be going up there. So it'll be interesting to see what the outcome is out of this conversation. You know, at some point, we have to stop meeting just to meet, especially with these legislators. I mean, isn't that going to be a good look for the governor to be able to galvanize Black leadership, as well as to have the NAACP and these institutions to go up there? But if you're not coming back home with any deliverables, then it's just a waste of time. So I hope that this is a serious conversation to make sure that there are some preventive measures taken to make sure that Detroit is not going to be like Georgia and we're targeted for voter suppression. We have a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Good morning, and how you doing, Nicole, this morning?
I am doing well. How are you, Stevetta?
I just called this morning because I know that you had to leave a little early yesterday, and I can't stay the whole show, but I just want to throw some thoughts even yesterday and even today with council meetings going on. I want to tell folks that I don't know if they noticed or not, but since this is election year, I noticed that the council want to do a little extra thing. Each one in their district, like this past week, Spivey had the shredding, you doing the shredding, and week before last, Scott Vincent had something in his area had to do something. And if you notice, all the time they always after the meetings, after the council meeting, they always show them what somebody's doing something extra. Well, let me just say this. First of all, before you do extra, why don't you take care of your business at hand in the city? the regular stuff that you're supposed to take care of, like cleaning the streets, the garbage pickup.
That's right.
Police work.
Mm-hmm.
And even you got these city directors doing the work that your council people supposed to work. You can't, half the time you can't even get in touch with them, especially ours in our district. So I just want to give people food for thought. Don't get food, because first of all, they ain't doing nothing extra that they supposed to be doing in the first place.
That they not already getting paid to do. I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
And then I want to just say, somebody mentioned yesterday in the chat room about me taking the Johnson shot. I did take the Johnson shot, and I was fine. Only thing was wrong is that my arm was sore for a day.
But a lot of you can get that from a tetanus shot.
Right, and my niece took it yesterday, and she was fine.
Mm-hmm.
She was fine yesterday and today. So, but the thing is, too, I want to say about that, when you were talking about that, I don't blame the governor, because let me just say this, if people don't realize, the governor tried to shut it down, and all the mayors and their commissioners and all these counties, Macomb County, St. Clair County, Washington County, Monroe County, Oshawa, all these counties up north, they want to take her to court and had the court to silence her. So, hey, you need to tell your people to wear masks and don't be trying to travel somewhere where the spread is. You're going in Louisiana where it's high. You're going out to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame it. You take care of it. I tried to, but you didn't tell me. So now all she needs to do is sit back and just wait and say, I told you so.
Well, you know what else? And I'm glad you called in, since you took the Johnson & Johnson. Like I said, that's why I wanted to give the statistics around the rare blood clot. I mean, 6.8 million people have taken it in the United States. And again, I don't wish any ill will on any of the people who have taken it. I'm just saying only 6, according to the statistics that they're giving us, have experienced this rare blood clot. That's really such a small portion of people in comparison to those who have taken it. And like I said, I don't believe it's just the Johnson & Johnson. I believe that, once things kind of level out and get back to normal, we're going to find that with the other vaccines as well, there were some people who experienced, some sort of complications or whatever. So, but I am glad that they said that they're going to put a pause on it in order to figure out, how to work out the kinks through this vaccination, and then before they gear back up to start dispensing it again. But again, it was only 6 out of 6.8 million. That's something to consider. And I'm glad you're saying that you feel fine, and that your niece, that you feel fine.
And my niece also told me to tell people they need to be honest with these people when they sign up, and tell these people when they get these shots. They need to be honest about their medical history. And a lot of those people don't tell them.
That's probably, that's about everything. That's about everything, not just the vaccination. You're right about that. They should be honest about their health condition. I just, like I said, I think people expect a miracle. I personally, I don't believe that this vaccination is going to mean that we're just totally out of the woods, because it's so new, so I think you have to manage your expectations as well. You have people going around here thinking that because they get this vaccine that they're fully immune. I personally don't believe it. Now, that's just my personal opinion. I feel that there is not enough data to prove that right now. But in order to get this information, they're going to have to work through it, and they're going to have to monitor the people who are getting the vaccines. That's just the way that it works. I don't believe that it's a miracle drug right now. And I don't think the people who get this vaccine should feel that way either. They're going to need to practice some precautions still. You need to wash your hands. You need to wear your mask over your mouth and your nose.
Right.
And practice social distancing. Right. You know, and again, these people wearing this mask under their nose. I went into the store the other day, and you know, and these folks kill me behind the counter who want to have that mask right up under their nose. You can't give me nothing. I don't care. You can't give me nothing. All right. You gonna need to pull that mask up over your nose. I just need to be able to see your eyes, and that's just the way that it is. And then also, today, you know, we're going to talk about what's going on with the police. You mentioned about the city council. Why we don't hear the city council saying anything about the police commission not being vocal around promoting an officer who got 80-something complaints. So we're going to get into that today as well. You know, we take a look at what's going on.
Remind people to get on the Zoom call at 2:00 every Thursday.
Yes.
With former police Sergeant Willie Bell, or Lieutenant, who commissions the police commission like he the constable.
But you know what killed me? No, you don't hear any of these institutions saying anything about him. You know what? All of these so-called organizations that are for, you know, black empowerment and equity and stuff, they all need to be rallying around what he does at that table at the board of police commissioners, because you know what, it's disgusting, and that's the bottom line. And he stand a good chance of winning again.
Right.
Y'all better pay attention to this board of police commissioners and what's going on over there too. That is really important. Now, we've done some work in the charter, but I'm gonna tell you something. You and council needs to be speaking up too, but never mind. Last time city council spoke up, they wanted to sue our people for $200,000. So maybe we don't want to hear from them. I might need to walk that statement back. I don't know about that one. But thank you, Stevetta, for calling in. I appreciate your call.
Okay. All right, and I'll talk to you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
And everybody have a blessed day.
Oh, you too. You too. Let me see. What are you guys saying on the comment? That's right. Michigan is leading the whole country in COVID new cases. Whitmer says we know how to flatten a curve, so she's not going to shut it down. I just personally think, well, let me tell you this. If she does shut it down, let's start off with this one. If she start issuing some more $1,000 tickets, I bet you, I know who better not be getting a $1,000 ticket anymore, and it better be Detroiters. She better take that up north. Because the last time she was issuing tickets, it was our people who received a $1,000 citation. But those other folks coming up there on the Capitol, they were not social distancing. They did not have a mask on. Not one of them. They didn't even get a ticket when they came in front of her house with those guns. So don't, whatever she do, I tell you what, she can issue it for the rest of the state, but you shouldn't. Detroit already had their turn. Now enough is enough. But I just believe that, you know, next year is an election year. I don't know how this is going to pan out. Again, they're saying that they have issued as many of the vaccines to Michigan as they have readily available. Again, I just don't know if that is the problem in its totality, because we went from not having anyone with a vaccine to not even being in the top 3 to now a third of the state has been vaccinated. And so now we're number 1. There is something else going on that needs to be addressed. And whatever that is, they need to address it. Listen, people gonna get the vaccine if they want it. That's just the bottom line. It's not because you don't have enough vaccines available in this state. I don't know of any place that has run out. Matter of fact, I just got a text yesterday. So now the historical King Solomon is going to be actually issuing the vaccine too over there with Reverend Charles Williams. So they're opening up more facilities for you to be able to go and get the vaccine if that's what you choose to do. So I don't think it's a shortage of the vaccine. That couldn't be it. And then you're going to have a lot of business people who are going to be coming back, and a lot of business people who are going to be coming to challenge her if she shuts down the state. I don't know, but you cannot, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is a high number. This surge in numbers is definitely it's a threat, especially to our community, because we suffer the most. And you know, the impact that it has on our community is usually the impact that it has on our community is a lot more severe than what it is on other communities. So that's something to consider. And also, if you want to call in, the number is 313-451-2228. 313-451-2228. Sorry, I didn't know I didn't have the ticker going by. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, again, next year is an election year, which means technically this year is an election year. So I'm quite sure that's going to have something to do with the decision that's made on whether or not to shut down. And I believe, what is the capacity now for businesses? Are they up to 50% capacity? Maybe they're up to 50% capacity. So if she shuts it down, I don't know how much longer these businesses can survive. How much longer these businesses can survive with opening and closing in this way. Let's take another caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. You have a question or comment?
Yes. Good morning, Nicole.
Oh, hey, Kenny.
Good to hear you on the show this morning. I'll be waking up every day thinking you coming on, and this is Monday and Tuesday. I'm like, I'm gonna get Nicole. Yeah, but I'm glad you're still talking about these shots. I talked to my cousin yesterday. He took both of his shots.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? Do you know he the virus? He can't go to work. He's a master electrician in the plant. And he got it. I talked to him yesterday. I said, how you get it? You done took your shots already. He said, I don't know, man. And he said, but I went and got tested. I said, did you get a false test? He said, that's what I thought and the plant thought. And he said, I took the first test and it came back positive. He said, then I went and took another one and it came back positive again. So I'm trying to I'm like, well, how did you get it or that fast when you done took the shot? I said, did you have it before you took the shot? He said, no.
Well,
so I want to bring that across the airwave to the people that the shot is not no guaranteed thing. There's no miracle in that shot.
No, it's not. And it's too early. And it's too early. But you know, that was a part of my concern too. And I think, and when Brenda comes on, I'll confirm this with her. But Dr. Smitherman, was he on CNN this week or Headline News? I can't remember. And they were saying that now, before you had to wait 90 days after testing positive for COVID in order to get the vaccine. But I guess now they've shortened up that amount of time. My thing is, this information is changing pretty fast, right? And again, this vaccine has only been out. They've really only been testing it on us for 6 months. Now, I had a conversation with someone else the other day, and they were saying, no, they've been testing it for years. I said, no. I said, because Dr. Smitherman was clear about that. There's one part of the vaccine that they have been testing for years, but then this other part is new. So technically, this vaccine in its full context has only been tested on people for the last 6 months. So it's going to be new information, and it's going to continue to change. And I don't know why these folks want to act like if they get vaccinated that they fully cured. And I think that that's a part of the problem. You need to live in reality, right? This vaccine, maybe it could curb how it impacts your body, but you are not fully immune right now. I don't see any studies that show that you are fully immune from this virus. And to your point, look at what happened to your cousin. And your cousin isn't the only person who was tested positive. And they want to say now, okay, well, I don't know how long after he had been vaccinated, because now they're saying you have to be, well, they're saying that it's 14 days after your second shot that you're fully vaccinated, or 14 days if you get the Johnson & Johnson that you're fully vaccinated. Well, we'll see. Because if he caught it after 14 days, then that kills that theory too.
Right, and they don't know it's an experiment right now, drug that they're using on the people, and these people jumping in them chairs so quick and say, "Come on, roll up their sleeve," not knowing, the results or the side effects that's gonna come from this. All they listening to is people think you can get back out and you can and the world will come back around when you take that shot and things. And they have to be very careful. People, please be careful. Quit jumping in the chair so fast.
You need to be responsible. They need to be responsible as well. You go and you get this. Listen, I don't care how many people post on Facebook, I'm getting a shot. First of all, you with your not having 2 credits in medical school, you not gonna tell me what you listening to the news, okay? Just like everybody else listening to the news. That's where you getting your information from. And my thing is if you go and get the shot, you still supposed to be responsible. And a lot of these folks don't want to be responsible. And so that's a part of the problem too. You are not fully immune from this doggone virus. And I agree with you, Kenny. You know what this is about? Everybody talking about how they want to get back out here and they want to live free. You are not. If you start living a free summer, then you a fool too. Because they have told you that you still have to practice social distancing. You still supposed to wear your mask. That's proof that you are not 100% fully immune if you take this vaccine. And you got folks who are already preparing, thinking that they're going to be able to get out here and to live life like they did before. No, that is not how this works.
I go up in these stores. I'm not going to hold because I'm going to let you finish talking, but I go up in these stores like yesterday. I'm looking at these white folks out there with no mask on and things. And this government, to me, she done got weak. She done got weak because of when they went up there laughing and all that. And it's like she done got scared to say shut certain stuff down when they need to shut this stuff down. If you're not wearing a mask, then sit your butt at home or stay wherever you at. It's sad that it's like that, Nicole.
No, you know what, Kenny?
Sit back and watch.
No, you know what she should have done? She should have penalized them like she did us. She didn't ticket them. Right. No one was arrested when they was up there at the Capitol, nor did she have anybody arrested when they showed up at her house.
And then they start writing tickets to people out there in Detroit when they was at the
$1,000. $1,000.
Yeah. The young folks are getting tickets, but they ain't doing nothing to them white folks out here. And
to one of the poorest cities in the country, and you gonna write us some tickets for $1,000. But you don't do nothing to them crazy white folks who up there with the doggone guns and everything drawn. And they intentionally didn't social distance to prove a point to her that she wasn't going to do nothing about it. And she didn't.
That's right. But if it was black folks, we would have been either locked up or ran out of there. And let's call it like it is. People talking about the race car. Yeah, it's a race problem. And we know that for a fact. With all the shootings that's going on, they sprayed the guy in the army uniform, they just fired him. They should take his pension for that because he was racist in the first place after the guy talking about, I fought for this country and you doing this to me and thing. See, I'm so sick and tired of folks making excuses and some of our people in this city council, these church folks and all these talk about all this other stuff going with this old clown ass mayor we have in office that's still overtaxing us and shutting people water off, and they go along with it. But when they hit their home, then they'll say something.
Oh, that's when everything always changes, when it land on their doorstep. I absolutely.
That's right.
I agree with you. Thank you.
I'm gonna continue to listen to your show, and you keep doing a good job. And we need you out here.
Thank you.
And I'm right alongside with you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, the website is up. You can go to electNicoleSmall.com. It's electNicoleSmall.com. Go on there. Tomorrow we kick off our district Zoom meetings. District 1 and 2 are tomorrow. And then Wednesday 3, 4, and 5, Saturday 6, and the following Monday will be District 7. If you can't make it to your own district meeting, then join us on another district meeting. I definitely will value your input about the platform that we have to make sure we put in Detroiters first, because is at the end of the day, isn't that the majority of the problem that we have with our so-called leadership? We are not a priority, and that no longer can be tolerated or accepted. You deserve better. So again, let's make these next 4 years the best 4 years, turn this city around, take back our power and activate it. Listen, the power lies within the people. We had too many issues that we're fighting not to have the support of a voice of leadership at the table for the legislative and executive branch. This is important, people. We allow the next 4 years to be as they have been for the last 8, we in trouble. We in big trouble, and it will take a lot more than one election to turn things back around. And I'm telling you that it will. So either we're going to do better this year and make sure that we put people in office that are going to be for us, or you know what, you might as well get to packing your stuff, because watch Negro removal at its finest. You going to see it at an all-time high. Trust me. All right. Good morning, Brenda Hill.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, fine.
We've been talking about a lot today. Let's start off with the vaccine. Get your thoughts around that, because we're definitely gonna have to delve into what's going on with this police department and the promotion of officers, and then of course we got to talk about what's going on today up at the state capitol. So Governor Whitmer is at odds with President Biden, around shutting down the state. I don't think that she want to do it because she know about the backlash politically. What are your thoughts?
I mean, she's still in court with those folks suing her about the shutdowns. And I think the greater argument that's going on is that if we're the highest in a corona cases, yet we're vaccinating at the highest, how does that compute? How does that happen? And so shutting down the restaurants and everything, I mean, they're just going to fight her. I have not heard any of those folks that said the first time that they're going to ticket the people in their areas and help her stand up and say, we need to do this. These people have murdered over 500,000 people. And they get the vaccine, no problem. In fact, a highly respected doctor took his son over to the CVS at Gratiot and Connor, almost the blackest spot in this city. And the line was at the door for the COVID vaccine, and they were all white folks. I don't understand what TCF and Ford Field is for, if that's what's happening. And they're saying Detroit, less than 21% of Detroiters are vaccinated. I'm not getting the vaccine for a variety of reasons, but I want anyone who wants the vaccine to get it. I hope
to have access to it. That's right.
I hope what the scientists and the politicians are saying is true, that this vaccine is fine and that 70% herd immunity will kick in. And then that'll be good for all of us. But I haven't gotten it and I haven't given it. And why are they gearing up to penalize the people who've murdered no one, but allow the people who didn't mask, who fought, who went to court, all that stuff, to not wear a mask, who murdered over 500,000 people, to just walk in line? They don't ask any questions, and they just get the vaccine. There's something.
And look at how they planned. They actually planned around this, because I remember when I was hearing in February about an uptick of it was a lot of young kids from the suburbs, right? They were white, they were Arabic, Middle Eastern, a lot of them who were coming from some affluent suburbs. I don't mean just across 8 Mile, they were all flocking down to TCF to go and get the vaccination. And so the first thing I said, and I mentioned this before, I said they must be getting ready to go for spring break. Because since when do you get in whole, don't forget in the beginning, they were just saying that you had to be of a certain age or whatever before they open up the doors. And I get that part too. You want to target the people who are most vulnerable to being impacted by this virus. But I knew it had to be something with, they want to go on spring break, and lo and behold, they did, right? They go on spring break, and look at what's happening now. For the life of me, I don't understand how nobody let their kid go to Florida for spring break and come back in their house. Let me tell you what kind of mama I got. Surely ain't play that. Okay, let me tell you. First of all, you couldn't even go on vacation someplace and come back and not shake your clothes outside before you come back in her house. That's just how it was. Okay, she didn't care. You gonna stand outside. You gonna shake your drawers and everything. She don't care. So if you think that during a pandemic you was gonna go to Florida, which has been up in numbers with that crazy fool governor that they have down there, and come back to her house. She wouldn't have cared if she might not would have let you sleep in the garage. Now I'm just gonna tell you, probably would only been my daddy who could have saved me. But I'm just telling you, my mama would have been like, no. So these folks letting these kids go to Florida and then come back to their house. No.
But that's to my point. So they get to not wear the mask. They get to go into restaurants. They get to pass this virus around. They get to go on vacation. But those of us who followed the mandates, done everything right, are the ones who are about to get penalized. That's not right.
Yeah,
that's not right.
First of all, we sacrificed so much. Think about how long it's been since we've seen. We had to go without seeing our loved ones. That was a long period of time. And so there's been a lot of sacrifices that have been made. And to your point, now you want to penalize these other people. And again, I will say this: there is something that they're not telling us.
Yes,
there has to be something that they're not telling us about why these numbers are so high. Because we had these fools who wasn't wearing a mask before. I mean, they just wasn't going to do it. They want to fight. I mean, I don't think Walmart has never seen as many fights as they have during this pandemic. It was always the old white person in Walmart wanting to fight because they don't want to wear a mask. Like, that was just the thing, right? And I think I mentioned this last week. I was in Costco, and I promise you, this couple had to at least be like close to 80 if they wasn't in their 80s. I mean, raising hell about wearing a mask. These people, they feel like it's their constitutional right? So we've been having that to go on. So I don't know if it's now those of us who were wearing a mask now feel like we don't have to because of the vaccine. But I do believe that there is some information that they are not telling us. And let's be clear. How you start off is how you finish.
Yeah.
When they started this off, they wasn't telling us everything, right? It had already been here. And people already knew, and we found out at the end. So I'm saying that people have to do what's best for them, and don't go around here thinking that you're going to be 100% immune, because something is going on.
I do want to make the statement, correct the statement, when they say that they've been working on this vaccine for years. Well, coronavirus, which is all kinds of viruses, right? So they've been working on
read your lights off,
because the flu has been around, and all the other viruses that come out of the coronavirus family. They've been working on that for years, but not COVID-19. The 19 stands for the year that they identified it, and that was 2019. So when they say that, that's a half truth.
Yeah.
Well, they have been working on the mRNA portion, on how to deliver a vaccine that way. But they've been working with mRNA for cancerous diseases, not for viruses.
And I just want to point out, and that was a Black sister.
Yes,
who absolutely did that research. That was a sister who did that research. Go ahead.
Right. but it was not for viruses. It was for
Nope.
cancerous diseases. And that's a big difference as well. So when we're getting this information and they're throwing it at us to combat a question that we're asking, they're trying to continue to confuse and disarm us. You have to know that they have not been working on this vaccine except for about a year. And no matter what else they tell you. Also, when they try to tell us that, oh, I know that y'all upset about the Tuskegee experiment and Henrietta Lacks and all that stuff, but that was 50 or more years ago. Our folks was just dying in this vaccine time, in this virus time, exponentially more than people of other colors. And so we don't have to go back 40 years, 50 years to talk about the disparity in how they treat us. Just in this virus, 40% of the people who were dying were Black folks because of what? Healthcare inequities. The lies they were telling one class of people versus what they were doing for other classes of people. So when they say, well, you don't want to take the vaccine, and really bullying people instead of...
Oh, it's definitely a bullying tactic.
Yeah, giving them all the real information. In fact, I was on a call with Dr. Smitherin, and he said that they only know 6 months of information on this vaccine because that's all it's been out there. The reason that they were saying that if you had the virus, you had to wait 90 days before you got the vaccine. And now he says the only reason they said that is because there were so few vaccines. Well, why didn't they tell that whole story? Now, if you've had the virus, you can immediately get the vaccine because we have a large supply of vaccines now. See, that's the kind of...
But hold on right there. Let's really dissect what you just said. So they've been dispensing this vaccine that we know of for the last 6 months, right? And that didn't even include some people who were able to get it, I believe, in December. There was a small sample size of people who were able to get it in December. And with that said, think about it. Just for Johnson & Johnson alone, already 6.8 million people in the United States have received it, right? Mm-hmm. That's a lot of information to digest and to analyze to come up with results. And I feel the same way for the Pfizer and the Moderna. What I'm saying is that they're processing information so fast. You can anticipate, and this is just what I'm saying, for some of that information to be walked back. And I think that what's happening is that because people are so exhausted from what has happened with this virus, I mean, we have had to do an immediate shift for the way we live our lives, right? And so you so desperately want to get back to normal, you're willing to push common sense to the side, is what I am going to say, right? And you think that they're processing all of this information so fast, and you think that they're getting everything right? No, like this is a lot of information, and it's going to be years. It's going to take years, just like any other vaccine, for them to really get to the bottom of, what this is doing to us. They probably are going to have another version of the vaccine to really improve it. It takes time. And I think that our people need to really understand that again. And the reason why I keep focusing on us is because it's more detrimental to our community. If you take this vaccine and you go out here thinking that you're going to live your life the way that you did before, you cannot be that naive. You just cannot afford to do it.
Why they're not listening to that. I'm going to go past the fact whether you're going to buy taking this vaccine. Mm-hmm. But however, Dr. Birx, who stood there with Trump and allowed him to disseminate all kinds of misinformation, and now she's saying it wasn't right, it's not true, blah blah.
And Fauci too.
Huh?
And Fauci too. Now all of a sudden you got all this other information you want to give us, but you didn't care about sitting up there giving us a mustard seed full of information before. Right. And that's another thing that people need to be cognizant of. You know what? Your life Your life was not put first. Your quality of life was never put first. Politics was put at the forefront for so long. And if you believe that politics isn't playing a huge role in this right now, you a fool.
I mean, it's money. Therefore, politics is in it. I mean, look, he gave Moderna $6 billion. Trump did, and Pfizer. This is even before one vaccine was made. And then dispensing all these healthcare systems and pharmacies, they're making billions and billions and billions of dollars. And another thing is the percentage of old folks that died after getting this vaccine. We don't have that. I mean, most of them, some of them were going to die anyway.
Especially those in the nursing home.
That's what you're right. They were going to die anyway, but we don't even have a percentage point of how many people died after a famous former state rep in this city mother passed out 2 days after getting this vaccine, and she's still in the hospital. You think she's the only one that happened to?
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not getting those numbers. We're not getting that kind of information. They're just saying every time someone says, "Oh, see, you're not being truthful." Oh no, that's just an anomaly. Oh no, you're just wrong. Just take the vaccine. I'm not falling for that.
And that's my problem that I have with them giving this information about the Johnson & Johnson. See, I don't personally believe that that's the only vaccine of where people have experienced these type of side effects. You know, but because we know that money has a lot to do with this, they don't want to really tell you any real side effects besides a sore arm or, you know, flu-like symptoms for a couple of days for the Moderna or the Pfizer. That's personally what I believe. We always knew that the Johnson & Johnson was going to be the maybe generic version or the lower grade version of the vaccine. They've been promoting it that way since the beginning, right? But you also need to wonder, what aren't they telling you about the other vaccinations? And the reason why I say that, because if you choose to take it, know what signs to look for.
Right.
You know, and also if you choose to take it, you know what your underlying, your pre-existing conditions are. That'll help you make a more well-informed decision when you have all of the information. I just personally don't believe that,
and you remember
they want to tell you all of that because of the money that's involved. So,
and when they started with this vaccine, the vaccine was supposed to be this miracle vaccine that you didn't get the coronavirus. Now they're saying, well, you can still get the coronavirus,
but now you won't die from
getting it, because now people are getting it who've had the vaccine. And they're saying, well, you just won't die from it. Well, Hilton Napoleon's still alive too. And and he's going through hell. You know what I'm saying? Getting that virus is nothing nice, even if you live. And then what about the long haulers who have quite a few health issues going forward that may have them for life? We don't know. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, give the full, truthful information. You just don't know. And you're trying to just save lives. I get it. The best way you can. But to sit here and just lie and lie and lie and then blame people for not believing you because you keep getting caught in lies, not the way to do it.
No, because you know the easy thing to do is then to turn to those who don't want to take the vaccine and try to blame them. No, when you really should be applying the pressure to those who piecemealing this information to you, and then they know that they withholding some information that you really should be privy to.
And let me tell you,
and in our community, historically, this is the way that it has always been. And it's not just the Tuskegee experiment. I mean, first of all, people better watch that show. That documentary, Hidden Colors. You better find out how, you know what I mean, they would take our body parts, everything. They've always used us as test experiments. Period.
And I got PTSD from that so-called booster shot from the late 60s, early 70s that took half my arm off. I'm scarred for life. You understand what I'm saying? But I remember us lined up like cattle Just walking into a school, watching kids come out screaming bloody murder, but because they had a lollipop. And our parents it was like going to a concentration camp. But what I do know is diabetes is up, all kinds of cancers are up, autism is up. I mean, go down the list of health issues that are up since we've taken that shot. We still don't know how we've been affected, especially people in our community from that one. But what I do know is, I'm trying to get rid of scars from when I jumped fences and jumped off of roofs and stuff. And I got this scar for life that's not going anywhere. And we don't even talk about it, And so now they're trying to line us up again. I'm not doing it. No, I still don't know what they're doing.
Let's take a caller, and after this we gonna switch topics.
Yes.
Good morning, welcome to the Nicole Small Show. You have a question or comment?
Good morning.
All right, Commissioner Davis.
I'd just like to say, pardon?
I said good morning, Commissioner Davis.
Yes, we have a number of major issues with the Board of Police Commission. Among those is the fact that we got too many former law enforcement and too many mayoral appointees that tend to rubber stamp the names and recommendations to come before us. Because, I've voted against a number of people being promoted because of their record. But, their union contracts that these officers have, makes it virtually impossible for them not to be promoted. So sometimes I may be voting against something just as a protest vote, but we need stronger language in future contracts. We need a stronger board. The board actually has a whole lot more power and influence, but if you have people that just rubber stamp certain positions without even reading the language, reading the fact that some of these people, especially you have some people that get promoted, some officers that have been promoted that actually beat up other officers on duty. I mean, can you imagine that?
Yeah. I definitely believe that there's some internal intimidation tactics within the law enforcement that takes place. And of course, it's unspoken because there's a certain culture and there's a code internally that affects them on the inside, but also that affects us on the outside as civilians. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and then I want to come back. What Commissioner Davis is talking about is one of our topics today. We have an officer that has had 82 complaints filed against them, and that officer was recently promoted. So we need to figure out, where does the problem lie with these types of officers? I mean, that's a significant number of complaints to be lodged against you and to receive a promotion. But to Commissioner Davis' point, they do have a bargaining agreement. They have a union contract. Police officers are within the union, and that is a lot of the problem. So what needs to be done at the Board of Police Commissioners level, and also when contracts are up for renegotiation for police officers, to make sure that this does not continue? We'll be right back after this quick break.
Tune in to the Nicole Small Show, Mondays and Tuesdays from 8 to 10 a.m., where you'll get straight talk with no chaser. If you miss a show, then you won't know. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook.
Welcome back to the Nicole Small Show. Before the break, we were joined, and we still are, by Brenda Hill, and also we have Commissioner Bill Davis on the line. And there's definitely a level of frustration with the public about the promotion of police officers, especially during a time where not only do we have the George Floyd trial that is ongoing, and a few miles away from where that trial is taking place, just the other day, a young man, 20 years old, Dante, he was killed for driving. He had a warrant for having some marijuana on him, and it ended up being an $80 ticket. And this is what he has lost his life for. And then also we saw in Virginia an officer being pulled over unjustly. And the officers who pulled him over, he said he was afraid to get out the car. They told him, well, you know, you should be. That lets you know their mindset, what they are coming to do. And he was in full army fatigue and everything. And, you know, they didn't care. But here in the city of Detroit, we face some of the same issues that they face in other cities, which is there are these union contracts, these binding agreements between law enforcement and the officers, and it prevents, in my opinion, the degree of penalties that they definitely warrant and deserve from actually taking place. And so what you see a lot of times is that bad actors in the police department are often rewarded for their poor behavior. And so there is an officer right now, has 83 complaints lodged against him, and he has just been recently promoted. And Commissioner Bill Davis, before the break, you were saying that we need, what do you think will be the best solution to turning this around?
Well, you know, we need to, going forward, we need to not allow certain language to be in union contracts. And don't get me wrong, I am a strong union advocate. I was an ASME chief steward in the water department. I was a UAW chief steward in the water department. But, you know, some stuff, you know, we just don't need, because far too often, a lot of police officers who get promoted up the ranks have, you know, complaints against them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes it's just one or two. But, you know, anytime you got frequently a lot of them for sergeants, lieutenants, and captains, they already have 30 or 40 complaints against them.
But how do you get up to 83? And I mean, that's a lot of complaints. How long has this officer been on the force?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. I'm not even sure which of the officers it was.
Okay.
Because we generally promote people in mass. You know, like I say, large groups of them.
Right.
And we get our information very, very late most of the time. At least I receive my information very late. I can't say about how some people get their information.
I bet you can't. I'm quite sure Willie Bill get that information quick, fast, and in a hurry. But go ahead.
And that's part of the issue. You know, Detroit is rare in this country to have a board of police commissioners, a police oversight. The majority of cities don't have that. And ours has been taken over. When Coleman Young instituted this board, he said no police officers, no officers. And we have Willie Bell from DPD. We also have Lisa Carter, former Wayne County Sheriff, on there. And they consistently are president and vice president, or vice chair, chair and vice chair of the Board of Police Commissioners, and vote with the mayor on most things. But what has happened now with a lot of people stepping down, instead of the 7 districts having their own and 4 appointed by the mayor, it's flipped on its head. The majority of them are appointees and officers or former officers. And the power that board should have is diluted.
And when we talk about the promotion of officers, let's just consider this. You receive, there's a group of officers who are promoted at once, right? how do you really even look through all of these records to bring attention to officers who have, you know, a numerous number of complaints lodged against them? I mean, I'm just thinking 80 complaints. Number one, you could retire after what, 20 years? If you had been there for 30 years, I mean, that's a lot of complaints to have. And to my understanding, the promotion of this officer isn't that high in rank to where they would even have had that much time on the job. So I think something needs to be done about that process too. The information should definitely be forwarded to the Board of Police Commissioners a lot earlier for them to at least be able to look through, to have enough time to look through the records of all of these officers, you know, before being promoted. Thank you, Commissioner Davis, for calling. We appreciate it.
Yep. But if you have a chair and a vice chair of the Board of Police Commissioners that don't demand that this information comes in a timely fashion, then this is what you have. They're getting reports the day before, the day of the meetings. And really, Officer Jones, the one who beat the mentally ill lady, at the hospital, several of the chair of the police commissioners, well, Davis, Burton, and Woods, have been fighting his promotion, him being on the force, and it has come falling on deaf ears. So what we have to do, and the meeting is Thursdays at 3 o'clock on Zoom. You can just go to the Board of Police Commissioners on the city website and get the link. But the community needs to put the pressure on them. Now, they have 3-hour meetings and they say nothing, give out awards and stuff. But if we got 50 or 100 people to get on there and just say, I don't like the way things are going. And just that puts 3-4 hours onto those meetings, and they will get it real soon, because they don't even like to be on the 2-3 hour meetings.
No, they don't.
The community has to put the pressure on. And if you don't know what to say, then call a Nicole or call a Brenda, and we'll tell you what you need to say, what needs to be the topic of the day. But overall, this Board of Police Commissioner is just an extension of the mayor. It's not even the people, where it was instituted to be an arm of the people, to have oversight of the police department. And I just want to mention what's going on in Minneapolis. It's been almost a year since George Floyd, but we had a 20-year veteran cop who was out training a rookie cop while the Derek Chauvin trial is going on. That shot a young man over the trees hanging on the deodorant trees hanging on his rearview mirror, which I think 90% of drivers have. And she said that they're saying, "Oops, I shot this kid. Oops." I believe it was a murder on camera for white supremacists around the world. I think this was orchestrated. They were going to kill that boy regardless. But what we can do is understand how they're trying to criminalize poor people. I mean, this ticket quota.
First of all, let's go back to the point about having the the car air freshener hanging from the rear view mirror. There's no way in the world that you can tell me that as an adult, I don't care what race you are, that you don't know what that is. That you don't know what that is. You definitely know what it is.
No, right.
To have him murdered, you know what I mean, for something again so senseless. But the part that really stuck out to me was the fact that she kept yelling taser, taser. She knew that was not her taser when she pulled it from her hip. First of all, the weight of the gun versus the taser is totally different. The feel of it is totally different. When she went to reach for it, she knew that was not her taser. Period. I believe that this was planned. And this is again why I say this is another act of first degree murder. You might didn't know that you were gonna kill this young man, but you set out to go kill to kill a black person that day, and that's exactly what you did.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what happened. And we need to stop playing these games, acting as if, because they change the manner of which they kill our people a little bit, that is something different. No, what I am saying to you is that she knew that she was going to leave out that day and to go and kill somebody who was an innocent victim who was going to be black. She knew that was not her taser. You cannot tell me that she didn't know the difference.
Agree that that can't go by unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to say something and do some things about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we can I don't know what their agreement or contract is, but that stuff, there has to be some penalties in place.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, oops, I pulled the gun instead of taser is not good enough. And
that's right.
Police chief jumped out there like that was a reasonable answer.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's son is dead. And the other thing is those deodorant trees are designed to hang from your rear view mirror.
Yes, they are.
They're not designed to be on the door, or I don't know where you could, or
that's where they go.
That are designed for your heating and cooling system to be clipped on. They're designed to be hanging from your rear view mirror.
Absolutely.
And so if that's okay, and you use it the way it's designed, and then he has an $80 marijuana charge, and they're selling marijuana at the same corner they stopped him at. I mean, something is really, really wrong here, and we're gonna act like the emperor has clothes on. This is some BS. A 20-year veteran knows the difference. They are trained where that taser is versus the gun and then why
they know that if they were blindfolded and it was pitch black, I guarantee you, if somebody put a taser in their hand versus a gun, they would know the difference. I'm just not buying that. I'm not buying it at all. Yeah. This is just another way to be able. So now, instead of being so blatant about it, which it still is, to commit the act of what Chauvin did, and just to sit there and to keep rocking back and forth on somebody's neck. So now you're going to say, oh, I just made a mistake. Taser, and you know that you're reaching for your gun. Now, this is another way for them to try to get out of it. And what I'm saying is absolutely not. This young man had a 1-year-old son. So this baby has lost his father. And for what? The mother has lost her son. And for what? Nobody can justify or explain this. And this is what happens over and over and over again. And you know what? This is another thing. This is during a time of a pandemic when our community is experiencing so much loss that we have not been able to process anyway.
Absolutely.
And to have these acts to continue to slaughter our people, it's all by the same system. And that's what we need to understand. The same system that did not take preventive measures to make sure that, something was done early on to flatten the curve of this virus is the same system who was out here protecting these officers who are slaughtering our people in the streets. It's the same system.
And
we need to understand how they're working together.
Before those who even listening to the show come up with that quote, black on black crime, which there's no such thing. It's called crime. Jump in. I have.
Well, white folks kill white folks all the time, but don't nobody ever talk about it. I bet you if you go to China, the majority of the killings are the Chinese killing the Chinese. I mean, they kill me with that. It's so stupid.
Yes. It's crazy. But the same affect that we have when police kill our people, and they're trained not to. Supposedly, we have when there's violence in our community. We want none of it. None of it, no matter where it comes from. But people who are trained to protect and serve, who are just slaughtering our unarmed people over nothing. I saw so many white folks throwing things in private stores, privately owned stores and stuff, and not one gun was pointed at them. They were never taken into custody. They were never treated how Black folks get treated who are unarmed. Like you said, that office, they stopped that office, the army guy, because he didn't have plates. When they walked up to the car, they could clearly see he had.
You could clearly see the tag in the doggone window.
And yet they escalated that. And then, like you said, they said you should be scared.
Yes.
A patriot, a true patriot. So which one is it? That are these folks patriots that don't want to wear masks, but are someone who's putting their life on the line in uniform, driving down an American street?
And that meant absolutely nothing to them, because at the end of the day, this was about him living in Black skin. And I see we have a comment saying that the law is clear. Nothing is supposed to hang from inside your rearview mirror. It doesn't matter is the point whether or not he had it there. The point is that he wasn't killed because of that. He wasn't pulled over because of that. He was pulled over because he was a young Black man. That's what we're saying. You could do everything right. It's after the fact that they use these as excuses. It's because we are born into Black skin and living in our Black skin that our people are being targeted. There is nothing that we can do at this point, considering what we have seen, to stop this madness unless these officers are going to be punished. They find an excuse after the fact every time, after they have already killed one of our people. That's the problem. I don't even know what we can tell our young people now to do. I mean, yes, if they pull you over, if they ask you a question, but even when you have your hands out of the window, when you answer their questions, when you tell them, look, I have a registered gun, when you do all the things according to the law, they still kill you. That's the reality that we're living in. You can't even tell your children anymore, listen, this is what you do to make sure that you leave there in one piece and not in a body bag. There's nothing else that we can tell them, because you know what? The precedent has already been established. They're saying that, you know what? They will kill us first and come up with an excuse second. Let's take a caller. Good morning and welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Nicole, Brenda, how are you? This is Steve.
Good morning.
Hey, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning. Let me say this. I'm gonna give you three names that died in vain recently. That's Micah Johnson, Gavin Long, and Christopher Doran. I need people to Google those names and see why they died in vain. Because they died because they got tired of American tyrants killing Black men and women. Period. We saw Sandra Bland get out of the car with a cigarette and then end up hung.
Yeah.
We saw Rashad Brooks run away from the police and get shot in the back. We saw Philando Castile in the car with his girlfriend and his daughter get shot. We saw this. America keeps trying to tell Black folks, you don't see what you saw. You didn't hear what you heard. I don't know. It's not going to stop until we stop it. Martin Luther King, if you still believe he talked about the dream, then you didn't pay attention to his last speech when he told Black Americans to redistribute the pain. Stop buying Coca-Cola. Stop buying Wonder Bread. Stop drinking Seal Test milk. We got to understand, our oppressors speak two languages, and that's money and violence. I don't suggest the violence route because they'll kill us in 5 minutes because they are masterful killers. But if we distribute the pain and unite and galvanize and do economic sanctions, we can wield our power, because the only power we have now left is the voting power, and we ain't voting. The fact that we got a white oppressor that never had more than 73,000 votes over the blackest city in America shows us that we are willing to use our election power or our political power. We have bombs that we have elected. who go into office looking like us, but they think like others. They go into office and then they get all of a sudden Stockholm syndrome where they love their oppressors over their own people. I'm simply saying this to our people who are listening. If you are not a Negro, and a Negro will look you in your face and tell you that their vote don't count, that's what a Negro is to me. Because if your vote didn't count, they wouldn't have 253 bills across this country trying to suppress your vote if it didn't matter. So I'm simply saying to the Negro, as long as you keep sitting back, just keep taking it, and keep taking it without grief, because that's what America is doing to you. The bottom line is, here we are in a pandemic, Brenda and Nicole, and we begging for crumbs. We begging for stimulus checks. Is not one politician that has missed one check. Name me one.
They haven't.
And you begging, you Lazarus begging Pharaoh for crumbs from the table when it's your money.
Wait a minute.
Your money.
We got $859 million that they have told us almost a month ago that's coming down the pipeline, and we not even coming to the table to demand to get a part of it.
Right.
We still not doing that.
And you got white boy Republicans holding the money in the state of Michigan. They won't even allow the money to come out. So they're starving you back to work. They're starving you to go back to work in a pandemic. It ain't about vaccinations. It's about starving you out. Make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. And to tell me, Nicole and Brenda, isn't it true that we're in a pandemic? Isn't it true that you might have a paper license for months because you can't get an appointment at your DMV?
Absolutely.
Yes. That's right.
So you tell me this: how the hell does America love black people when you are fully dressed in an army fatigues with lieutenant bars on your shoulder, with your hands outside of your car, and you still get maced?
Yep.
America don't love black people, and we've got to redistribute the pain. And the black people kill where they live.
Yes,
blacks kill where blacks live. Whites kill where whites live. The only problem is black people tend to have an occupying military force, which is white cops proliferated in black communities.
Say it. That's true.
I'm saying this, and let me leave you on this. I'm telling all the Negroes, and I'm specifically talking to Negroes because black people overstand what I'm saying. It is the Negro that outnumber black folks in this city because we are the blackest city in America. I'm telling Negroes to vote out every single incumbent this summer, period.
That's how you exercise your power. That's how you leverage your power. Right there.
Absolutely.
You make a believer out of them because they don't believe right now. And until you exercise and leverage your power in that manner to send a clear message, you know what? They will always take you for granted. They will always treat you as if you're an option, as if you're dispensable. They will always continue to do it until you show them differently. It doesn't matter how much power you have if you don't activate it. And that's what we need to understand. It has nothing to do with your economic status. It has everything to do with your mindset and understanding that, you know what, you could show them better than you can tell them. And if we don't get that this year, you ain't gonna have to worry about getting it no other year. And I mean, whether it's the gubernatorial election, whether it's the presidential election, whether it's the doggone local election for state of Michigan, you're not going to have to worry about it.
Right.
Because they will have this thing so sewn up. They'll be voting for you. You can believe that.
And let's talk about the money
Negroes
that was
control national politics and can't even control Woodward and Jefferson.
There you go.
You better say it.
But let's talk about
we let them shut that down and convince us that we needed a park right there, the major doggone intersection. That's what we let them convince us of that we needed a park right there with some tables. You don't even understand how all they doing is cutting off your access to what's yours.
That's right. That's right.
Suffer.
And then look at all the money.
Told that they have heart disease, so they go and get stents, open up their arteries. But Negroes, you looking at your main arteries of travel, and they constricting it with bike lanes. So shut up and sit back and keep taking it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Steve, for calling in. We appreciate you.
And to that point, look at all the millions and billions of dollars that the DNC, but all and the RNC, they poured into getting people out to vote this past presidential election. And they're saying that's a win here in Detroit, that 50% of the voters went to vote. And I say that's not enough with all that money.
It's not enough.
For only 50% to have voted. But they're running around like they won something because 50% of the voters voted for the white man. That's what happened. But they're going to turn around and less than 20% of the voters are going to turn around and vote for city council. Less than 20%. That's not a win. That's not a win. That's not when 20% or 50% are determining what happens to the majority of us. And so we're sitting here trying to convince people that now you can vote from home. Why are we still having to spend that kind of money to convince people to vote from home? I said when they said we were putting out those boxes to drop off boxes, and I said that's 5 white generational contracts. You don't know a black company that makes those ballot boxes. You don't know a black company that installs the ballot boxes, that installs the security system around the ballot boxes, that picks up the information out of the ballot boxes. I mean, there's just so many contracts. And the same thing with those bike lanes. You know, I turned on Livernois and 8 Mile and damn near ran over the sidewalk because it's extended so far out into the street. And Grand River is worse. Yet we don't do anything. And right now, all you have to do is get on a Zoom call and help us out. We put our careers and lives on the line every day for these people around here. You don't understand. These people listen to us, but the majority of the people in power don't agree with us for whatever reason.
Because and a lot of them are afraid. I don't think that we understand the portion of our community that operates out of being paralyzed with fear. Okay, they will fight you and I for telling what they know is the truth. Okay, what they know is the truth, and want to condemn us. Well, I don't know. Well, you know, you don't like the delivery. What difference does it make how loud somebody is when they delivering you the truth to save your life? But because the person who cutting your throat is quiet, you'd rather you feel like that's more palatable and conducive to your lifestyle because they quiet. It's called the silent killer, and that's what you need to understand. And historically, silent killers have always been the ones that kill our community, and we need to understand that.
I mean, talking nicely and talking slow.
Where has that gotten us?
Where does the serial child killer, what does he say to the kid? He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm the boogeyman." He says, "Come here, little girl. I got a puppy. I got a lollipop." That's how he gets your kids after you told them over and over and over not to talk to strangers.
That's right.
And
it's something we have to stop doing the same thing over and over again. And expecting a different outcome, right? And that's what I was saying about, you know, these protests. I support protests, but I don't know if the way that we're protesting is really producing the results that we say that we desire. I just don't know. Again, here it is, another officer. So we go back out in the middle of the street while that officer at home sleeping in a nice, comfortable bed. I just don't understand that. At what point are we going to be tired of protesting in the streets instead of taking it to these people who are killing us? Don't you think that that will send a different message? Because this is the problem. So now here it is. Now by shoving in there on trial. So now you got a white woman who gonna come out, and she just feels that if she says that it's a taser, then that's gonna justify. They had this all planned out for her to say that she made a mistake, and then the gun just went off. Then this a veteran, and the gun just went off. Okay, that means that in order for that gun to go off, you had to release that safety. Let's just be clear. In order to shoot that gun. And all that I'm saying is that, so they have everything planned out, and you see how they're shifting. They're shifting their behavior a little bit. So now they think that they can trick us up. But we doing the same thing, expecting a different result. I don't understand that.
Right. And
they're not saying that they're going to stop. They're not saying that, oh, well, now I'm going to start injuring you instead of killing you. They're just saying that, you know what, we're going to come up with a different excuse. Is what we're going to do. Okay, I thought I was grabbing my taser instead of my gun. That's what we have to understand. So when are we going to do things differently?
And remember, when they had the campaign of getting tasers, tasers were supposed to save our life, to stop this police brutality from happening.
That's right.
And now they're using the very thing that they lulled us into going along with as an excuse of why they can pull a gun and still kill an unarmed Black person.
Still killing an unarmed Black person. We have to stop
buying it. We need to stop listening to it. We need to just say, this is what we're demanding, and that's it. This stuff stops. I mean, we find out when Derek Chauvin is murdered, then we start hearing about Ahmaud Arbery. Now, then we start hearing about Breonna Taylor. Then we start hearing about the McLean boy. I mean, that was over a year before this happened. This stuff is happening every day. We just don't hear about it. We just not listening. But what they understand is if they distract us with this, like Steve said, we're going to give you a crumb over here. And then we think that that's going to fix it. It's not. White supremacy rules this country. And
yes, it does.
And the reason we have white supremacy is because of money. Until we get rid of that, nothing's going to change. This is how you do it. Millions and millions of dollars are spent while we're getting crumbs. You know, all this money that's been spent, we could have alleviated poverty. Nobody should be going without eating.
No.
But they'd rather fight against us and people living and come up with this thing to distract and that thing to distract instead of solving the problem, which would be if you're a cop and you murder an unarmed person, you're done.
Yes.
That's all that needs to happen with that. The same thing with with us voting. There should not even be anybody worried about keeping their job.
Let's talk about
city council. Look at Spivey. Those people over there in District 4, homes are flooded, all that stuff. Gentrification.
And he got enough nerve to think that you couldn't do your job in District 4. And people have to understand this. And he's so bold and brazen to consider running citywide. You couldn't take care of District 4. It's not even one of the largest districts. Them people over there, basement still flooding, you can't get insurance to cover it either. Okay? You can't take care of that. We don't even hear you talking about it. And then you want to run citywide. You know why? Because he think it's even more fools that citywide that would elect him. And he has never proven to be a strong leader.
And Scott Benson in 3, the highest crime rate, higher since he's been
highest crime rate. Highest number of marijuana dispensaries. But and the ones that was operating illegally. You know, highest level of blight. But there you go. That's what you want for your community.
None of that. He speaks to none of that. He was part of the architect of Proposal B, the work community benefits agreement. All that. Now he pushed the proposal in, and I say it's when you see in quotations, it's the NIGGER.
That's right. That's right.
And once we went down there and fought against it, and yet he thinks he's gonna win again. He should be scared. He should be packing up. Oh, he had a DUI over there, could have killed kids and people out there. he need to pack up and go back to California.
California.
But no, he's
California.
over there. He don't have a problem because he knows he's going to win again. Because you know what? They're not going to vote. And they got all kinds of bad actors over there making sure that happens.
And you know, and all you get from people is, well, can't nobody beat this person, can't nobody beat that person. Well, if you got that defeatist attitude, then you know that we're not gonna have any change. That's the problem. It's the defeatist attitude of our own people. Go vote. And you need to tell these people who you know are voting that they need to vote differently. But let's shift and talk about voter suppression. Today at 12 o'clock at the Capitol, I see that this effort is being led by NAACP. Looks like CBTU, Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. Who else is on here? DABO, NAN, UAW, ACLU. Oh boy, Michigan, Michigan Clergy Coalition. So this is a call to action, a peaceful rally to protect voting rights and end voter suppression. Steps of the Capitol building. This is at 12 o'clock.
Yes. Well,
where's the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party is what I want to know. And this rally and this call to action, I mean, you taking this here.
You mean LeVar Barnes?
What did I say?
You said the chair. I mean, who are you?
Oh yeah, LeVar. Okay, yeah, LeVar Barnes. That's right.
Right.
Where is she around this voter suppression to take clear action? Where is the emails, the communications? Where are the serious roundtables to talk about how we need to educate our community to protect them from us turning into a Georgia situation?
She came out for Joe Biden.
She sure did. We haven't seen her since.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. And that's my point. We do have bills before the House and the Senate for voter suppression, but they have the majority. Republicans have the majority here in this state. So they're going to pass 44 states. It's not just Georgia. 44 states have those same types of Jim Crow bills to advance voter suppression. And we're hearing nothing from the very people who just spent millions and millions of dollars to get Joe Biden elected, but nothing to fight the true fight, which is they're trying to Jim Crow us again. And I got Jim Crow last year, where that black folks, and they're going to make sure there are no ballot boxes in the neighborhoods. They're going to make sure that only so many polling locations are open. You have to stand there for hours, but yet if somebody gives you some water or a sandwich, they get arrested. You get arrested. This is crazy. And we're sitting back just rallying, and I hope it's more than that, but LeVar Barnes is not scheduled to be there, as I know of. Absolutely not. And
I don't even see the MDP. I don't see the MDP listed.
Yes. On the MDP Black Caucus. What about Keith Williams?
Yeah, what about him?
So what's gonna happen is they're gonna roll back absentee voting, which they feel is the problem. And then meanwhile, Trump voted absentee every year for the last 20 years.
That's right. That's right.
But they're going to roll it back so that we are discouraged from voting. And it's really easy to discourage a Negro, evidently. I mean, you could have voted from home. It came in the mail. You could have put it just right back in your mailbox, and we couldn't get but 50% of the voting public to vote.
Well, here's the part that really kills me too. So all of these organizations that were calling on us last year in 2020 to help get out the vote in our neighborhood, where are they? Because see, all politics is local. So where are you to support us on turning out the vote this year?
Because they're not getting paid like that.
That's the problem. And that's the problem. So you don't care what happens to us, locally. But as long as you can use us on a national level or to help your organization to get more money, then that's all that matters. Because it amazes me how these organizations aren't going to put any effort. We haven't heard anything about any of their efforts around helping to push for, you know what, real change in these local elections.
Right. None.
And I'm going to tell you something. You got too many of these organizations around here playing both sides of the fence. And I want y'all to pay attention to something. These ones who claim to be so progressive, you watch how many of them are already about to support Duggan.
Yep.
The ones who claim that they want to make sure that we have more equity, whether it's with pay, housing, water, watch how many of them support Duggan. See, you can't play both sides of the fence.
Either no, evidently you can, because we don't hold them accountable.
Against oppression, or you gonna stand with the oppressor. It's no in between.
And this is the thing. It's not like we went through the biggest municipal bankruptcy in the country, in history. Absolutely. We were promised city services would be great. They are not. Mm-hmm. We're still screaming. The garbage isn't getting picked up. The streets aren't clean. All that. The lights aren't on. Yet Detroiters don't have those jobs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're gonna scream all that, why can't Detroiters have those jobs?
That's right.
We let them outsource those jobs. Now Detroiters don't have those jobs. A friend of mine said Duggan is bringing jobs to Detroit, not for Detroiters, though.
But not for Detroiters.
So what? Why? We could be where we were before all that happened, before he was elected, or before the bankruptcy. If it's that, makes it worse to watch other people prosper around us. We were handed overtaxing our property taxes, but we have a host of people that don't even live here, don't look like us and stuff, profiting off of that. But they can't fix the fact that we were overtaxed.
Here's the thing. They won't even address it.
Yep.
That's how little they think of us. They won't even address the issue. Now, let me tell you something. That takes the cake right there. To have leadership in place that are they will simply ignore the fact that you have been robbed, but yet and still you're going to allow them to convince you that they are here to serve your best interest. This is why they play us for fools, because there's nothing that any of them should be able to say. They are all silent and complicit in it. Mm-hmm. Every meeting, there should be a council person bringing up the fact that they need to address Detroiters being overtaxed. And this is where I say all 9 fall into the same category.
Absolutely.
You don't say a word.
And look at the insurance, the car insurance. People aren't even driving. Nope. We were supposed to be saved by that pimp last year, giving up all your rights. And now people's car insurance is going up. How's that? And they're not even driving.
That's right. That's
and
right.
Nobody's addressing that ever.
But they don't have to, because you know what'll happen when they come around, and those who gonna knock on your door, send you a mailer, they still gonna applaud them and everything. At what point do you demand that somebody treats you better? You just gonna keep allowing them to treat you like a doormat. Then you say that you don't understand why they do nothing, because you said it's okay to treat you like a doormat.
Yes.
And so when they walk all over you, you wonder why you got footprints all over your face, because you laid down and allowed them to treat you like a doormat. It's as simple as that.
There is no reason for anybody to have not voted unless, something physical is going on with them. We should not have Detroit. If we just stood up, listen, you don't like what Mike Duggan is doing, then you should be down at the city county building saying you can't go to work today until you get this fixed. It would be simple. And they keep telling us how many people in Detroit. I mean, you only need 1,000, 2,000. Make that happen.
That's right.
A couple of 100 people on Zoom calls to make that happen. So, I mean, all our problems can be washed away with public participation.
Look, you got council people who not even being opposed.
I mean,
how that work?
How the Gabe
how that
leaving
work?
issue? How he get to decide he gonna leave?
Yep. I don't know why we give them so much power. How is it that you elect somebody, you hire somebody for a job, and they end up being your boss, your manager? Now, how that works? I've never heard of it in my life. And it's like we just don't understand the concept of electing people to represent your best interests. That's what you do when you vote for people. And even if you didn't vote for them, you still supposed to hold them accountable. You don't just simply sit back and say, well, that's the way that it is, and there's nothing that we could do about it. No, there is something you could do about it. Get them out. And again, the fact that you have 9 members of council and not one of them is standing to address the fact that we've been overtaxed. And let me be clear, I ain't talking about nobody doing no press conference, okay? I'm saying somebody bringing a solution to the table and bringing it up every time. They won't even do it. They won't even do it. You have an obligation and an opportunity at each meeting that you can make a statement about it. And I don't care if you put it on the agenda every week and nothing happens. You can bring it up.
That's right. That's the way it should happen. Clearly, and it happens. It's not like this is a far-fetched idea. It happens. It happens in other communities all the time. This is what will fix Detroit. You get rid of these 9, and if another 9 come in and do the same thing, we get rid of them. Then people will start coming to Detroit trying to run with this mess. I hear Detroiters say, I'm a Detroiter. I've been a lifelong Detroiter. If you're not a Detroiter, this, that, and then we elect everybody off from all over the world.
And I don't know where this concept come from. You have to be born. We need somebody who born in Detroit. Well, I don't know what Detroit you talking about, because let me tell you something. It's a whole bunch of folks who've been born in Detroit, and they the problem. Okay, they're not doing us one bit of good. They are actually opposing the things that we are fighting for. If we don't start to understand that we need to have certain standards, and we need to have certain demands around these people that we are supporting. Now you want to talk about where somebody got to be born. Yeah, because the place that now don't get me wrong, you need to be here and have done something. But I don't care if they've been here longer than they've been someplace else. Listen, get out of here with that. Our standards needs to be higher, because everybody who born here is not for us. And that's just like everybody who look like us is not for us. Let's take a call.
And that's the truth. And you need to get your 10 friends to call in as well. You need to get your 10 friends to listen to you. If they're not, if they're not voting, if your kids are not voting, don't give them a dime. Now, listen, my mother used to threaten to put me out because, I didn't wipe down the counter.
That's right.
That would have been,
you know what? Those were the standards in her house, and those were her rules, and that's the way it went.
And like you said, your mama was like, or grandmama was like, you shaking them clothes out, you leaving them in the yard. You went and visited somebody's house. You're not bringing no ants and no roaches to her house.
Nothing up in the house. You got that right.
And the whole block can see you butt ass naked before she let you bring something.
That's right. That's because you know what? Those standards were non-negotiable.
That's right.
And the problem is, you know what? We always negotiating away our power and our demand. Instead, and we'll concede before we even state what the demand is. And here lies the problem. Let's take a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. You have a question or comment? Doing well. Good morning.
I listened to your show. I was a guy that might text you about a month ago because I worked all the weekends. I look like I'm going to be on the weekends, so I'm going to be on those Zoom calls.
Okay.
And I also want to say you're absolutely right when you come to people who talk about people who wasn't born here. So what? The best mayor we ever had wasn't born here. So
that's right, Coleman Young, and they seem to forget it.
And it seems like you got to get out of this city, because anybody that moved away from here and go someplace else and come back, they realize this is abnormal living that we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
This is totally abnormal. And you're absolutely right. I called my sister in New Orleans and my friends in Mississippi. I tell them, forget all this federal crap. You got to take care of local issues.
Yeah.
And the local issues is number one, because you can't worry about Joe Biden and people breaking into your house and you don't have no food. You don't even have a job.
Yes.
So I don't know where they're going with this. They love to talk about the Republicans and Democrats. The hell with that, right? I'm sorry, but the heck with that right now, because right now it's about survival, and we got to get rid of Mike Duggan, because this guy is the worst mayor we've ever had. I thought Dave Bing was.
Me too.
Dave Bing was pretty bad now.
Taking care of his own. Bing and Archer were so willing to take care of everybody else. My friends in Mississippi, I showed them my taxes. I showed them my property tax form, and I emailed it to them, and they looked at it and they said, "What the hell is all this? You getting hit with this and that?" Because these guys got bigger homes than I got. They got bigger lots than I have. They got acres of land. They have 2 or 3 cars, and one of them was complaining about paying $1,100 a year for full coverage on 3 cars. And
$1,100 for full coverage on 3 cars.
Yeah, and then when I told them what I paid for 1 car, they told me, you went backwards. You left Mississippi,
but you didn't advance.
You need to come back home. And they're absolutely right, because I tell you, living here is it's like being in prison.
It is, and it's quite eventful. And you know what? We are being taxed, overtaxed in so many different ways, and it costs so much to live in this city. And here's the thing: it's costing us even more to allow others to come in here. And I don't know at what point are we going to wake up. And your point about Mike Duggan is so correct. You know, it's what I hear so often is, well, can anybody beat him? Who is he? You cannot make a god out of this man. We know one other person is going to advance through this doggone primary, and we need to stop this foolishness. The fact of the matter is, and I'm not going to get so far off the subject, but we're talking about voter suppression. That's voter suppression, is when you can't identify the problem and just create a strategy around solving that problem. Mike Duggan is the problem. The solution is to unseat him. It's as plain as that. You know, but now you have and I'm gonna tell you something. Any candidate, any voter who just wants to focus on somebody else besides Mike Duggan, I'm not dealing with you.
I don't want
because that lets me know that you are not here for change. Mike Duggan is the problem. Period.
You're absolutely right. And so far after this month, I will not be on these weekends no more. And I will support your candidacy for city council.
Thank you.
Brenda's running. And I would support her not only with finance, but also with my time and effort to get you guys over the finish line. Because we really need people like you. And I'm so sick of hearing we need Detroiters. And I think I know the person you talk about that always said Detroiters. There's nothing wrong with being proud Detroiters. But I remember when the school system was looking for a superintendent. I said, with the money that they pay these superintendents and the perks that they get, they should have went anywhere from Detroit to Japan.
Yeah,
get the best person. They should have been in a situation where they should have picked 3, and any one of the 3 would have been a major improvement of what we had. But then I hear people talking about we need a person from Detroit, only Detroit. No, we need somebody outside of this city. So somebody who go ahead.
No, but I think that what they mean with that is that there has been there seems to be a strategy to select people for so much that don't live in Detroit. So let's talk about, these appointees with the current administration. Now, where I do disagree is that there's no other municipal government that you could go to, local government, where you see so many people who are actually recruited who come from other states. Like when you go to Dearborn, I'm just saying, when you go to the courts, when you go to the city hall, those people live there, right? Same thing with Birmingham, same thing with Royal Oak. So for those types of positions, I do think that Detroiters should be given an advantage because that's the way that it works. But the issue with the superintendent is, and I agree, it's not that person had to come from Detroit, but they picked a corporate person right? They wanted someone who was going to operate from a corporate lens, and that's where we go wrong. That's another place that we go wrong. But I'm gonna just say this: we have a lot of people who were born and raised. Listen, look at who the biggest supporters of Mike Duggan: Charlie Beckham. You got Ernest Johnson. You got Jimmy Settles over there. You know what I mean? All black men who from here. You know what I mean? And they supporting Mike Duggan. And this is and that's why I don't agree that, you know, I think that we have some people who have lived here long enough. Now, I wouldn't support somebody for mayor who's only been here, who's only lived here for 2, 3, or 4 years. Now, I wouldn't, because number one, it takes you a long time to understand the city because the city is so huge. So
absolutely, and you know, I wasn't born here, but I've been here for 40 years, and that counts. Detroit, and I believe Detroit, and I believe my hometown, Louisiana. But we're like sister cities. My sister tell me the same problems they have, but my thing is also I don't care if it's Detroit, but just get the best person. And you're right. If you're not living in Detroit for 10 years or more, then you shouldn't even be able to run for city council or mayor of the city.
That's right.
And I right now I got 2 people that I'm leaning on for mayor, but I know who I want for council. And you and I hope Brenda run for it. But I don't know, you know. But the main thing of it is, I'm so sick of what we got right now. And we had our streets cleaned yesterday. And I said the only reason why they did it because it's election time. And these people are just going to. One thing I want to call in about. I had to take care of a simple matter of a registered deed. I go, how in the hell, I mean, it's around the world.
Go ahead, it's all right.
How in the world can you go to the deeds office on the 7th floor and they close for COVID, but on the 5th floor, they open.
For you to go pay your taxes.
Okay, you pay your taxes and the restaurants are filled up. But I'm going to remember Bernard Youngblood because he's going to bring his butt out of hibernation when it's time to get reelected. And I'm going to just say, stay where the hell you've been because you used this COVID crap. You could have had people working in the office answering phones, but to shut down and have a note by the elevator saying that you need to go to a title company to take care of your deeds. That's ridiculous.
It's unacceptable. And you know what? By now, they should have had some type of mechanism in place for people to be able to come in now, even if it's by appointment. I think the city of Detroit is getting away with sheer murder as well. By not opening back up to a certain degree. Let me tell you something. Congress still been in office, everybody, the Senate, and I don't understand why we can't have access to our local government. And this is how they are this is another form of voter suppression, because then a lot of people don't know you don't know what they doing.
You know, why can't it be this simple? Those whose last name is A through D come on Monday.
Right. Called the city council on East Point, and I just said, look, I got a problem. I want to take care of these. Let's do these office. You know, they gave me a number, and someone answered the phone, but I really couldn't tell them because.
What that part about somebody answering the phone? That's
a small city, but they're taking care of business.
Okay, and I want to let everybody know, we just had Brenda Butler. There's a Coalition for Property Tax Zoom call, and they have been reaching out to various city council people. So today, Council Member Ayers will be on from 3:30 to 4:30. And what's the telephone number? 313-438-8698. 313-438-8698. Call to get the Zoom call. Let me tell you something. You know what you asked Councilwoman Ayers? Where is that People's Slate resolution about people being overtaxed on their property taxes that's still sitting in her subcommittee since last year? That's what you asked her. She has not pulled that out of committee. She has not put it on her agenda. And there was a solution to make sure the Detroiters get tax credits. So y'all make sure y'all ask her that on that call today. It's at 3:30. Call that number to get the Zoom link information. Thank you so much for calling in.
I got you. I can tell you back and get that number. But thanks a lot for taking my call.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's almost time to go. This went fast.
Didn't it go fast? But isn't that some nerve? You had, I think, Tate, Ayers, and then Roy McAllister. Not one of you have said a word about us being overtaxed. So I can't wait to hear what they got to say on this call. So today is Janae Ayers' opportunity. Where the resolution is sitting.
Yes, well, right, in her office, but she can't seem to bring that out of committee. This is what we have, and we and the people like us continue to tell you time and time again where these folks are coming from, not your best interest. And we're not saying that because we don't have other stuff to do. We're saying it because your quality of life is being impacted. And that's whether you're getting a vaccine whose efficacy is not where it's supposed to be, or it's the fact that your life is being cut short at the other end because we got lead poisoning of our children here in Detroit, you know, and asbestos poisoning, or high crime, or not voting for the people who are in your best interest. All of that affects your quality of life and your lifespan. And so we sit here and we get confused of, get accused of saying and instead of but they're killing us, literally. And you're not voting. All we ask you to do is vote. Now we tell you who you should be voting for, but if we can get up to 80% voting, which is not unheard of around here in other communities.
That's right.
Then we can go away and do something else. And then the majority of the people will have spoken. And what can we say about that when the majority of people have spoken? But what we do when we go around the city, the majority of the people feel that they were not heard. But we have to ask, did you vote?
That's right.
And then they say, well, I wouldn't have voted that way. The way that those people who voted, didn't vote. That's all you have to do. And then all you have to do
is mark the ballot. And now you can have a ballot mailed. Well, I don't know. That didn't work out so well. But, you know, they supposed to mail you your ballot. And we still have an issue with people getting their absentee ballots on time. So that needs to be an issue. Hopefully that will be addressed, especially by these candidates who are running for clerk. And we're going to have the People's Slate will have a forum with them on the 24th. And then keep in mind, what is today? Today the 13th. We have 7 days, Brenda, until the deadline. So we'll actually see who's gonna make the ballot.
Yes.
So we got 7 more days.
Oh, listen, I will exhale when I get that list, because I'm tired of talking about people who may not get enough signatures.
Me too.
I'm just full of that. You know, we could talk about the people who are on the ballot and who we should support and those that we shouldn't and the reason we shouldn't support. And we got a lot of agents. We got a lot of agents. People need to recognize agent behavior.
Yes.
If people are getting on the ballot to split votes, to cause confusion amongst the people, that's agent behavior.
And they lying.
You can like them, love them, work with them. They lying,
acting like they have support that they don't.
Yeah, but this is agent behavior, and we need to recognize it. And there's a lot of people out there, and there are some people that I would have to hold my nose to vote for, but they're not doing what they need to do. So, they need to go as well.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you let us know, follow up next week. What happens today at the Capitol for this call to action rally against voter suppression, and we'll be looking to hear from you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be safe going up to Lansing too, Brenda.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. And thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back here tomorrow, Monday, excuse me. We'll be back Monday at 8 o'clock, and we'll be talking to some parents because it is Autism Awareness Month. So we'll be talking to some parents about how You know, they have had some successes with their children who have autism. It's going to be a really great story. So we'll see you back here Monday at 8 a.m. Be safe and have a great week.